Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Iris After Hours podcast. We are here at our Live to Love conference in Orlando, Florida, and you might hear a little bit of worship in the background or some construction at the venue or some people walking by. So just ignore all that and enjoy our podcast. We are with Caroline Thomas and Melanie Reed, who are on our Iris Madagascar base. And Caroline's been the leader of this base since she founded it in 2010. So we are excited to be with them.
Yes, and I'm Pasquale, and I'm here with Laura. We are here to take Christine and Nathan's place because Nathan is now, he just had his dad pass away yesterday, and he's doing things with the family and transitioning. And Christine, she's about to have a baby boy. So yeah, we are here to continue with the work that we're doing.
Yes. So Caroline, can you start off by telling us how did you end up in Madagascar?
I can, yes. Okay, so I started off, I am British, I'm from the UK, and I grew up and studied in the same city that I was born in, Bristol. I trained as a midwife and I worked in a hospital in Bristol. My plan was to study as a midwife, work for a couple of years, and then go abroad to Africa and do midwifery abroad. So after 2 years, I did an internet search for Christian midwife Africa and just found somewhere in Madagascar who were asking for a midwife to come. So I took 6 months from work and did a 6-month career break in Madagascar at a Y1 base, and I loved it. It was really rural. There was no electricity, no running water, no other Westerners. Everybody spoke Malagasy. Some people spoke a bit of English. It was a big culture shock, but I loved it. I loved it. So I went back to the UK and had to go back to my job for a bit, but was really praying about what my next season would be. So I went on a weekend retreat and was praying and saying, Jesus, what do you want from me? And I went to a retreat centre in Devon in the UK, and it was on top of a hill, and there's a path that winds down to the sea. So one day I was sitting in my room saying, what do you have for me next, Jesus? And he said, take a walk with me. And I said, no, I'm not going to take a walk with you. And I see like a yellow flower, and it means like go to Sweden. Like I don't want to be too picturey. Like just tell me where to go. I just want to like a direction, and I'll just do it. And he kind of laughed and was like, you're so funny, but just take a walk with me. So I walked from the hotel down the path to the ocean, and there was a stream that ran right next to the path. It turned into a waterfall halfway down, and then it just went across the beach and into the ocean. And I got to the ocean and said, like, that was great, but it doesn't mean anything to me. And then he suddenly said really loudly, the stream represents your life. The waterfall represents midwifery. It's a really beautiful thing. You stopped at the waterfall, you enjoyed it, you took some pictures, but you carried on to the ocean. And I'm now calling you to walk away from midwifery and walk into your destiny, which is working with abandoned children and orphans. Wow. And I was like, what? Like, I love my job. I love being a midwife. I was prepared to do that for the rest of my life.
Wow.
So I was like, who works with abandoned children and orphans, and where would I go, in what country? And then he just stopped talking. I was like, oh, like I came here with one question, like, where shall I be midwife? And now I have all these questions of like, I don't know what to do. So I went to my room, kind of confused, opened my suitcase and was like, well, I'm not going to read my Bible because I'm kind of annoyed now because I don't know what that means and I'm all confused. So I opened this, my auntie had said, if you get time on your weekend, read this book. Opened it, it was Heidi's first book.
Wow.
So I'd never heard of Iris, never heard of Heidi. She was talking about, there was a phrase in there where she said she was walking in her destiny, working with abandoned children and orphans. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is what I'm going to do. So I read the book, looked her up online, saw a few of her talks on YouTube, look on the website, saw there was a mission school. So I just booked into the mission school, gave up my job, gave away my car to a friend, moved back to my parents' house, did mission school, and was like, right, I know he's going to tell me where to go. Mm-hmm. So I did mission school, loved it, and it was the last 2 weeks of mission school, and I still got nothing. And I was like, gosh, I gave up like everything I had, because I was so sure God was going to give me somewhere to go and something to do. And how was I going to like save these abandoned children?
He waits till the last minute so often. Why?
So often. And it was like the last 10 days, I think, of mission school. And suddenly in worship, he gave me this picture, a horrible picture of this really dark room, and it was just filled with all these babies. And they were in cots, like lined up, and they were dressed in rags. They were really dirty. It was a really dark, horrible room. They were all skinny, all their bones were poking out, and they were crying.
Wow.
And I was watching them, but I couldn't get to them, and I couldn't touch them. It was like watching on like a TV screen, and I couldn't go, and I couldn't touch them. And I was so sad. And then one by one, they started dying. So one stopped breathing, and then another stopped breathing, and another stopped breathing. And I was like, Jesus, no, this is horrible. Like, get me in there, get me in there. And I couldn't get to them, and I couldn't help them. And there was like 20 dead babies in this room. Wow. And that was how it ended. So I was like crying my eyes out. I had a cold at the time. I remember just having like tears and snot everywhere, like all over me.
We've all been there.
Yeah. And I spent the whole of the next night like, Jesus, I don't even know where that is, and I don't care, because it was dark and I couldn't see, but you have to send me that. Like, that cannot happen. Don't let that happen. Just send me. And the next morning in worship, I closed my eyes and I was straight back into the room with all the babies. And I was like, Jesus, I'm not going to close my eyes. I'm not going to look at it, because this is horrific. Like, I've dreamed of them all night, and I am not going to close my eyes. But every single time I did, I could see them. And then he was like, just look up. He didn't look up. So we looked up, and it was like being underwater, and it was just like rippling and swirling. And he said the Holy Spirit's hovering over the room like he hovered over creation. Wow. You just need to sing. I was like, okay. So I started singing in tongues in this room, and suddenly like this light just came into the room, and it got lit up so brightly. Wow. And then all these windows opened, and then all this prophetic art just got painted over the walls, and all the cots turned into like these beautiful little like bassinets. Wow. All their rags fell off, and they got dressed in like princess clothes and like little really nice baby clothes. And then they got really chubby, and then they started breathing, and then they started laughing, and then they started sitting up, and they were like sucking their hands and laughing, and they looked stunning. And suddenly it was this beautiful nursery full of all these amazing kids. And I said, Jesus, I didn't do anything. And he said, exactly, like, if you're doing this with me, you need to know that it's me who's going to transform them, and you just get to watch.
Powerful.
I was like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. I'm in, like, I'm going now, but I don't know where I'm going. And they were amazing, but I couldn't tell where I was. And then Heidi spoke about something, and then she said, I just feel like God has given people pictures of their destiny, but he hasn't given them a country or a city. But you can see the picture, but you don't know where it is. Wow. And if that's you and you want a country and a city, come forward. And I literally ran forward and nearly knocked Pamela Maxwell flying. I banged right into her. I was like, it's me. And God was just saying, Antananarivo, Madagascar, Antananarivo, Madagascar. And I was saying, I'm so sorry, I can't hear you, because I keep hearing Madagascar, and I love Madagascar. Like, I'm so sorry. Tell me again. And I just kept hearing Madagascar. And I was like, I'm sorry, I can't hear you. And then he stopped, and he said, do you not believe that I give you the desires of your heart? I was like, whoa. Yeah. And he said, I gave you Madagascar because I love Madagascar and you love Madagascar, and we're going to save babies in Madagascar. So I grabbed Mama Heidi and was like, he's going to let me go to Madagascar, and I love Madagascar, and I can't believe it.
So good.
It's like, that's what he does. He sends us where we love it. He sends us where we're going to love it, because he kind of gives us his heart for it. So that is how I got the vision for it. I talked to Heidi about it. I went to Madagascar after my mission school to visit my friends there, and they met me from the airport. They didn't know anything about mission school. I hadn't been on email to talk to them or anything. Right. And the first thing they said in the car driving back from the airport was, oh, we're so sad that there was a baby was chucked in this dumpster outside the Waiwan base, and it was abandoned, and it died, and we woke up in the morning and there was a dead baby. Aww. And we talked to the police, and they said it's happening. Babies are getting abandoned in the street and they're dying. Government orphanages are full, there's nowhere to put them. And I was like, whoa, that is exactly the confirmation I need, that they actually need this here. So I got some paperwork, handed it in, and it took 2 years to get accepted by the government there. So I spent the next 2 years in Pemba and traveling around other bases trying to see how they did things and learn as much as I could, and then moved to Madagascar in July 2010.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's an amazing story.
Yeah, and I've now got
so
kids.
amazing.
I've got babies who were left abandoned on the street. I've got babies who were abandoned as newborns. I've got disabled kids who were abandoned in the market.
Wow.
And they are big, and they did come in rags and skinny, and they look like they were going to die, and now they're big and chubby and happy. Like, it's been so crazy, amazing to see it happen for real. And they've all got names and faces, and they're really walking around here, and they look great. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's so the heart of Iris, to just see people in need and rescue them and see Jesus transform lives. And, whenever I'm feeling discouraged or whenever I want to see an amazing testimony, I just open up your Facebook and those before and after pictures of your babies.
Yeah.
You guys can watch. You can go look at their Facebook and you see a before and after of a little baby, and they're literally look like they're about to die, and then they look like they're just the happiest, healthiest babies.
Chubby babies.
Yeah.
So that will
been
just
amazing.
melt your heart.
Yeah, it's been amazing, and God has done it. And just when so many times I thought this one's not going to make it, and one of our tiny ones stopped breathing 3 times and had to be resuscitated 3 times. And I was sure as a midwife that there's no way she's going to make it. And she's fine, she's 5, she's running around happy. And there was a little baby with such bad diarrhea, he went into multi-organ failure, his heart was like getting really sick. He was in ITU, he was about 4 or 5 days old. And the doctor said he wasn't going to make it. And I said, I don't believe you. And I Skyped my friend who's a pediatrician in the UK. And she was like, no, they're right. They're doing everything that I would do. And I don't think he's going to make it, but we're going to pray.
Wow.
So we prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed. And I begged the doctors to treat him as if it was their own kid. And it's like, imagine if this was your son, you would have to do something.
Yeah.
And he's fine. Like he was home within about 5 days from there. He got off oxygen. He started breathing well on his own. He started eating. And he's Estes age now, he's 7. Yeah.
Wow.
And he's a really big chunky
It's amazing.
baby. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, God's done it.
Yeah. So, what about you?
Yeah. So I've been in Madagascar for 4 years now. I just love the way that God brought me there, because it's just so His kindness and was nothing that I could even do. When I was 18, I had just encountered Holy Spirit and the fullness of the kingdom, and just the fact that you can hear from Jesus and you can experience Him and just everything like that. So I was like, I don't need to go to university. I have the Holy Spirit, and He can get me anywhere I need to go. And I would have these tearful conversations with my parents and be like, I'm not going. I don't need to go because I have Holy Spirit. And they would be like, you really need to go to university. And so we just kept missing each other in our communication. And then one day, it was the day before I had to decide if I was going or not, God just gave me immediate peace about going to university, and one that I said that I would never go to. But I had the peace, so I just said yes, and I went in and I started studying nonprofit administration.
Wow,
and
that's
community.
a good skill for
I know.
mission.
I was like, well, if I'm going, all I want to do is help people. And my mom was like, well, they don't have classes in helping people. And I was like, well, yes, they do. They do. And I found a way to do it. And then I studied micro business projects, and and ended up doing that for 4 years. And during this time, I got connected to just other people who were running after Jesus. And I just kept getting all of these words about kids, being surrounded by kids, and you're called to kids. And I just did not really like kids, honestly. I didn't babysit when I was younger because I didn't want to, and I just didn't feel that in my heart. And so I would get them over and over and over again for years, from people I didn't know, from just everyone in my life. And I would honestly be like, I just don't think people are hearing from the Lord. I would get a word and be like, I don't think you're hearing from God. And it would happen over and over again, and I would just keep putting them on a shelf. And in my last year of university, I just was having the hardest, driest, most horrible season of my life. I was planted in a church and was doing all these things, and had just gone through just trial after trial, and was invited to step back from every place I was in ministry. And then I got a word from God that I was going to go out onto the mission field at the end of that year. And I was like, you are insane. Look at my life right now. I've just stepped back from everything I was doing. And He was like, no, you're going. And so just a couple months after that, I actually met a family who was working with Caroline in Madagascar, and they ended up in the state that I was in, and got connected through a friend of a friend of a friend to the pastor of my church. So they didn't even know each other, but they were invited to come and speak at the church that I was going to. And as soon as they started talking, it just was life to my soul, and Holy Spirit was just all over it. And I knew right then, I was like, that's it for me. So while they were in the States, I asked if we could just meet for coffee and talk more about what God was doing in Madagascar. And everything that they were looking for at the base was everything I was studying. So it was just like the kindness of the Lord that years before Madagascar was even like on my heart or missions was on my heart, he was already doing it and putting it in place. So I was like, I'm coming, like I'll come right now for a year or 2 years or 5 years or whatever you want. And I'd never been out of the country before. So they were like, why don't you like come for a month and see if you like it, which was wisdom. So I graduated university and the next month was in Madagascar and just like stepped in there and got just totally ruined with love for the kids. And I would just look at them while they were like eating or like doing whatever, and I would just weep and be like, I cannot believe that anyone ever gave them up, and like I can't believe that we get to have them. And I wasn't even like a missionary on the base yet, and I was like, oh my gosh, like they're ours. And it's just so clear. I know that everyone talks about this, about their own kids, but they're so amazing, and it's just so clear that each one of them has like such an amazing destiny on their lives. And I just can't believe that we get to be a part of it and that we get to raise them. So I spent my month there, and they invited me to come back. But then they were like, well, there's this thing called Harvest School, and you have to do it if you're going to be a missionary. So I went back to America and just sold my stuff and left my job and started applying for Harvest School. But there were visa issues. So I did HS-21, and they had already shut down the whole school. I mean, not the whole school, the applications for the school, because they were going to keep it smaller.
Oh, I see.
And so Caroline was emailing Papa Tony on my behalf, and he was like, well, we're not taking any more students. And I was like, well, I'm going to apply anyways, like, and just start putting my application in. And he was like, okay, I'll look at it. So I just went through and was doing my application, and then I went in to log in again to keep working on it, and the whole thing had shut down, and my whole application was wiped. And I was like, well, I don't know what to do with that. Like, everything's gone. I can't even log in anymore. And I had just heard of what was happening back in Madagascar, where kids were being abducted and used for organ trafficking. And I had just heard that, and I was like so broken over it. And I just heard so clearly from the Lord, like, it's time to go. And I was like, well, that's amazing. Like, I don't know what to do. I'm trying to go to Harvest School right now so I can go. And the next day, even though I was never able to submit my application, I got an email inviting me to Harvest School. And so,
You have to do that part.
I know.
Skip this step.
So yeah, I just packed all my stuff for Madagascar, and I went to Harvest School and then moved to Madagascar the day after, and I've been there since. And it's so true that God will just give you the desires of your heart. I always call Madagascar the dream I never knew I had, because I just never thought about it before, but it's just more than I could have imagined for my life. And it is true that the call on your life is just so full of joy, and there is a cost, but the joy is more and better than anything that we could have ever had. So
I love that.
So, you know, what was like the most challenging things? We have the conflict of culture, and also some of you never experienced that kind of work outside of your country. Like, what was the challenge for you when you first got there? Will you let us know, and also the audience, because it's good to talk about, you know, the challenge, things that you didn't expect.
The real moments.
At all. So we would love to know that. So would you guys?
Sure. I think I love the culture and I love the language, so I've really enjoyed getting into the culture and learning the language. So I didn't find that hard at all. And it's different, but I love it. But I guess the thing I found hard is the level of suffering that I see often. I feel like because of what we do, we see the hardest kind of suffering. So we don't get to see like the fun stuff and the people who are doing well and the people who are like making a good business and driving nice cars, and they are there. We get to see the people who their husbands left, or they've been beaten till they're unconscious, or their kids have been sexually abused, or the kids have been sold for like 25 cents or something. Like, we get to see that all the time. So that's really hard, and it's something that I've never seen anywhere, and I can't even imagine people doing. And also, I think one of the challenges is we've had 2 kids that haven't made it. We've had 2 kids that died, and that was really hard because we had such a run of kids looking like they were so sick they were going to die. I kind of thought every single kid was going to do that and bounce back, and we've had 2 that didn't and 2 that did die. That was really hard. It was really hard for me. It was really hard for our base. It was also really hard to function as a team because everyone was just so upset and grieving for a few weeks. So it was really hard to even just do our normal stuff and keep all of our kids and going, and everyone just kind of was just so devastated. So that's been the toughest, I think.
How do you cope with that, or how did you respond after that happened when the babies died?
We were really sad.
Yeah.
We spent lots of time together, I think, kind of crying about it.
Yeah.
But it kind of made every single one of the kids who made it look even more amazing. So I think I just hung on to the fact that, like, this could have been you, but it wasn't. And this could have been you, but it wasn't. This could have been, like, so many of you, but it wasn't. So to see the pain of when they don't make it and to know that that didn't happen for, like, so many of them, that kind of made it worth it.
Like,
it could have been this.
Yeah.
It could have been this painful for you and you and you and you, but you're here and you're okay.
Yeah.
And it's worth it.
Yeah, and I think something else with that, like, one of the little boys who didn't make it, he was 2 when he came. He was 4 kilos when he was 2 years old, which is about 8 pounds, and was really sick and ended up living with us for 5 months until he passed. And to a lot of people, and he did get chubby, but he was
tuberculosis
still really
that had
sick.
gone systemic, so it went to his brain, and he had TB meningitis. It damaged a lot of his brain. He couldn't breathe properly. He couldn't move.
And to so many people, it might look like, well, like, where's the testimony in that, and where was God in that? But even though he was only with us for 5 months, and at the end he still couldn't sit or stand or talk or anything, but we got to show him what love was for those 5 months, and we got to show him what family was for those 5 months, and it was just absolutely worth it to have him and to get to care for him for 5 months that we got to care him, and he was worth it. The one was worth it.
He was.
Wow. So what about you, Melia? Did you?
Yeah, I think I'll just mirror what Caroline said, which is that, like, the Malagasy culture is amazing, and, like, I just really believe that when you come into another culture, like, you're just gonna learn so much more than you could ever teach.
That's
ever.
true.
Like, that is the real thing of it, is that, like, they just have so much to give, and they've just really welcomed us. Like, we've always been family, and so that's been amazing. So I've just really learned a lot from the culture. But we are parenting as a team and as a cross-cultural team, and not, I'm American, Caroline's English, we have New Zealand, we have South Africa, we have Madagascar, and just like in any other family, like, it's really hard when any of your kids are having a hard time, and, like, it's just so hard, and, like, our kids, we do love them exactly like they are our own, so the hard moments are when we know one of our kids is having a hard time, or one of our kids is sick, or they're having trouble in school, like, just the normal parent things, and then we're just navigating how to parent as a team, and to do that. But it's kind of like what Mama Heidi shared, which is, like, if an attack comes against you, it's one thing, but if it comes against your kids, it's an entirely different thing. And what do we always call it? Like, the mama tiger blood comes out, and, like, just learning how to do that as a team and in a really big family. But God always does it, honestly, like, always.
He's so good.
So good.
Yeah.
So another thing, at Iris, we just have such a heart for, if there's a possibility to keep families together, we want to.
Yeah.
And I know, Caroline, that's something that you champion at your base as well.
Yeah.
Can you share with us some of the programs or some of the ways that you've really tried to support families? And of course, there are cases when the children truly have no one, and then, of course, we love to rescue them and become their family. But about how they can also stay in families when that's possible and safe.
Sure. Every one of our kids that comes to us comes from the police and goes to the children's court. So part of the process of us in children's court is to sit down with whatever person, family members that child has, and to sit down with the children's judge, and she'll go through with us, is there anyone who can look after the child? Who are the members of your family? Let's write down everyone in your family. What about this person? What about this person? Like, what is their life like? Do they have a stable life? Do they own a house? Could they look after you? And if there's anybody that can and is willing to look after the kid and they're not being abused, then we do that. So we support the family in keeping the child. If the child has been abused by their family, the judge will take them, if she thinks it's the right thing, and will put them in the centre. If they've been abandoned and the family are very clear they don't want them back, or sometimes they're abandoned and no one knows where they came from, then they come to us. There's a TV show that any kid that's been abandoned, they'll come and do an interview of the kid, put it on TV every day for a week, I think, and if anyone knows of any story of that child or knows a family member, they'll come forward and let us know. So we try and track down family when we can, and try and get in contact with them. But if there's absolutely no one, or it's not safe for them to go to their family, then they stay with us, and we make sure that we're big and crazy, but we're a family, and we're not a centre.
Yeah.
That's right.
Sounds like a fun family.
Yeah.
And we've got a great friend who's an occupational therapist, and she teaches occupational therapy in Madagascar. So every year she brings her whole students to come and do an assessment of our kids. And I know there's a lot of information out there that says children in centres don't do so well. They're developmentally delayed. They don't reach their milestones. So we screen our kids every single year to make sure that they're reaching milestones on time, that they're not delayed, that they're where they're at or above. If anyone's got any kind of problem or any kind of special needs, that we're dealing with it in the right way. So we try and make sure that they're doing as well as they would in any other family. But we also have a great project that Melanie can talk more about, which is KidsCom.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
We call it Iris Kids in the Community. So they're kids who would, like, in every way pretty much qualify to be in our center, but they actually have a loving family who cares for them. So we'll often have families come to us and say they want to put their kids with us, but it's mostly out of poverty, and it's not because they actually don't want their kids. So we never ever take kids because of poverty. We really think it's so good if they stay with their family whenever possible. So we don't think poverty is a reason for kids to not live with their families. So rather than take them into our center, we will support them in their own communities. So we'll do everything we can with the family so that the family can keep their kids and keep them in with their parents and then thrive there. So we it's often single moms or grandmas who are caring for between 2, and on our program we have one mom who's caring for 11 kids right now. So we know it's so hard, like we do. So we do rice and lentils for them every 2 weeks. We give them 2 weeks worth of rice and lentils. We put all of the kids in schools in their own communities, and we'll pay their school supplies and registration fees. We'll pay medical bills wherever necessary, or we have a clinic at our base where they can come and get free medical care. And then we eventually work those moms into micro business projects whenever we can, so they can eventually support themselves and not need to receive our help anymore. So that's more individualized, and we do projects based off of what their skills are and what their education level is. And we've just started a sewing project for moms where they can't read and write, and they can't necessarily, it may not be the best thing for them to try and manage their own business. So we've brought them in, and we run a project where they can learn sewing, and they're making children's clothes, and then they get to read and write, and we do discipleship as we just provide basic needs. We just provide discipleship as well. So we really love them. We think of them like our kids, and they kind of grow as our family grows. So the amount of kids on Kids Community Program kind of usually mirrors what we have. So they're just our second family. They just happen to not live with us and have parents who aren't us. So yeah. But we work really hard to keep kids in their families whenever they can.
Yeah, that's a huge value in Iris.
Yeah.
We just really feel when we can help families stay together, that's what we would choose.
Yeah.
And help disciple their entire families rather than, and then of course we'll be family to whatever children need. Don't have families.
Yeah,
or
totally.
Don't have safe families.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you guys said the Madagascar culture is an amazing culture. What does honor looks like? You know, you guys still foreigners, is how I can say. We don't use that word, but since
Yeah.
we are talking with the audience,
Yeah.
people that don't know our language, I would say foreigner. You guys are foreigners in that country. So what does honor looks like when you emerge into a country that is not yours? Iris is more about like honoring the culture and also the people in that place. So what would you guys tell the audience, like what it looks like to honor, what honor looks like in Madagascar? With you guys.
I think we normally say to our missionaries when they come, just spend as much time as you can just getting to know the culture and the people. And for the first 6 months, just learn the language, meet the people, hang out with the people, eat the food, learn how to cook the food, spend as much time as you can with them and learn the culture, because in the first few months, people often come from other countries and you often hear them saying, well, in America, we do this. In Africa, in Australia, we do that.
Have you experienced that?
Yeah. So I think it's just human nature. When you go to a new country, you're constantly comparing it to where you came from to work out what's different and what's new. Yeah. So, but we were noticing that a lot of us were comparing. Well, actually, in England, we do it this way. Well, actually, in America, we do it this way. Well, we're not in England, we're not in America, we're in Madagascar, and some of the things they do are brilliant. So I can go in and say, well, this person is sick in hospital, and actually in England, hospitals look like this, and I think that's better. Actually, not really. Like, my oldest son came to me and said, you know what, I've come to England with you, and I've seen your hospitals. Not impressed at all. In Madagascar, when someone's sick, their family member stays with them, they look after them, they care for them, they talk to them, they hug them, they keep them clean. He said, look at your hospitals, they're nice and clean and tidy, and all of your old ladies are crying and hungry and falling out of bed, and no one is there to look after them. So, and he's right, he's completely right. So I think it's good to learn the culture before you start making decisions. So we don't normally let people kind of get deeply involved or make too many decisions before you understand, because we're not trying to make a little England, we're not trying to make a little America. We're trying to fit into Malagasy culture and just help when we can. So I think honouring their cultures and their traditions. Julio, the deputy base director, and me often have very different opinions of how to deal with something, because he's Malagasy and I'm British. We've been brought up completely differently, and I almost always let him make the final call on things, because even I've learned the times that I haven't, and the times that I've thought, no, I'm really sure that this would be right, I've always been wrong, and I've always had to apologize to him, because
I've had that with Laura and Pemba. Sometimes.
Ashwell knows better. The Mozambique culture, that's for sure.
They know that culture better, and they know how to work within it, and the way that I think we should deal with something is not necessarily the best way. So I think just honouring them, that their life experience is really important, and knowing their culture is really important, and the way that they think is appropriate to deal with something is usually completely the best way. So I try to kind of let them take the lead in big decisions and stuff, because they know what they're doing more.
I love that.
So what impact does that cause? Relationship-wise with the locals there, when you choose to do that, when you choose to honor?
Oh, it works so much better. I mean, I think any colonized country carries really deep wounds from colonization, and Madagascar does from French. It was a French colony, and sometimes that didn't go well, and people are really deeply hurt by what happened. So I think if you have a white European person jumping in and telling someone what to do, you're immediately bringing up stuff from the past that I don't understand, because we were the colonizers, we weren't in that position, but there's deep wounds that it really upsets people. So I think it keeps relationships good and healthy and godlike when you let people kind of be on the same level and work together and really let them take the lead in things. But that works really well, but it really upsets people, and I understand why, because people did that. People treated them terribly, and they never want that to happen to them again. So I think being gracious and kind and low and humble works so much better for everybody.
That's true.
And what do you guys do for fun? Do you kids like any movies, or?
With our kids?
Yeah, with your kids or by yourselves, but especially with the kids. What do the kids like to do on a day off, on a Saturday, for fun?
Well, soccer or football, whatever you call it, is the biggest deal ever, and like our kids just happen to be amazing at it, like they are at a lot of things. But yeah, so our boys especially will enter in like every tournament in the area, and it's really fun to go and watch them, and just be a normal family and just participate in their lives. And often when they have tournaments, they get to win animals as the prize. So
Live
like ducks,
animals?
ducks.
Live animals? Wow.
Yeah.
The winner of a big competition gets a sheep, so we've had a
Yeah, and cows. We've had more
We've
than
had
one
a cow, we've had a sheep, we've had ducks. It depends
That's-
how big the
that's
competition
fun.
is.
Yeah.
We had a pregnant sheep that had a little
pregnant
lamb.
Yeah, so we've just
Yeah.
like have
Can
our
I
own
become a
little
baby again?
soccer tournament trophy farm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And our kids are brilliant.
yeah,
So
yeah,
Can
good
have
at
more.
football.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That's awesome.
But
Yeah.
how good is God that our kids who came in so tiny and so scrappy and so malnourished when they started off are so big and so healthy and so strong that when they play football, our team almost always wins. Iris kids always win. We have our own Iris football team. And we beat all the other people all the time. And people in the villages around say that we inject our kids with drugs because there's no way that they could be that big and
Yeah.
that strong.
Yeah.
And they say it's not fair, you're cheating because
What do
your
you
kids
feed
can't
them?
be that.
Rice and beans?
We give
Yeah,
them
rice and beans, rice and
rice and
lentils,
vegetables.
So
vegetables.
Rice every
This is what I
day.
want to tell you guys. I'm talking about the base we have in Mozambique, the bases we have in Mozambique, Pemba, Maputo, Zimpeto, and Mashava, Matolore. Our teams, our soccer team, they are like champions.
Yeah.
So it has to do with
Rice and beans.
rice and beans. We eat
Yeah.
a lot
And
of-
Jesus?
And
Doesn't
Yes.
Jesus make us
I mean,
champions?
yes, Jesus,
Rice and beans
Jesus.
and
Or rice and beans, you know?
Jesus and the
Maybe
rice
both.
and beans. I'm telling you. So yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with that. We have champions when it comes to soccer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
What
we're the
is-
champions. I mean,
And what about movies? Do you guys have a favorite movie, or do your kids have a favorite movie?
Yeah, I mean, we like to do lots of fun things with the kids, including movies. The kids really like Tom and Jerry these days.
Okay.
Which is like a little kids cartoon, but it's no words, and they'll just like watch it in a loop on end and just laugh like it's the first time they watched it every single time. So that's been fun, especially like even our older teenagers just love to watch Tom and Jerry. But yeah, they like lots of movies, and we try and do movie nights and stuff, and
we
movies
like
on
to
the
watch
weekends.
Madagascar the movie
Yeah.
because Madagascar.
That's
Yes.
a great one for
Yeah.
Madagascar.
And
Yeah,
we like
I
to
like
move it.
Madagascar movie.
The kids get very confused. They love the movie, but they say, "Where is this place? Like, it's not the Madagascar that we know. It's just
Yeah.
nothing like where we live."
Yes.
It's not accurate.
those are cartoons.
There is a
accurate
rainforest.
To, yeah, it's accurate to like rainforest and coast, but not to where we are.
Yeah.
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 But they like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's your favorite sound?
You can do this.
I have a funny story about favorite sound.
Okay.
My favorite sound is at night when the crickets all start singing. And when I did my first 6 months ever in Madagascar when I was doing midwifery, and we were right out in the bush, and every night as soon as the sun started to go down, it's like the crickets just switched on and they would sing all night, and I loved it. And after 6 months I went back to England and my room was silent, and the first night in England I just lay there thinking I can't sleep, like it's just like this echoey silence. I hate it. And the next day I went to a pet shop and I went to the snake section, and they were selling boxes of live crickets, and I got a fish tank and 2 boxes of crickets, and I took them home and they sang every night in my room. And it sounded
We
like
love it.
Africa in my room.
I love it. So you've really assimilated to the culture, including
Yes.
sound.
Yeah,
Sound.
Yes.
that's my favorite sound.
Love it.
Yeah.
So what about Melia?
Oh gosh, I can't really think of a favorite sound. I guess like
What about the ocean sound, the birds,
yeah.
the wind?
I mean,
Like, can
all
you
good
choose between
things.
those?
Yeah.
Cars honking.
Children laughing.
I mean, I was
babies
gonna say like laughter. There's just like
the kids laughing.
there
I was
is
thinking that might
nothing
be your
like
favorite
it.
sound.
There's
Yeah.
nothing like it, and it's so contagious.
How does it
It's
sound
the
like?
best.
How does it sound like?
Oh my gosh!
Can you do it? Can you please?
But you know that like
Just
laughter is
make it.
contagious.
Yeah, laughter, joyful children.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a great sound.
Can you make it?
You're just killing me,
I'm not
Pascal.
kidding, please. I just wanna get.
I
it.
can only do my laugh, which is like
Your lie,
genuine to
laugh.
me. But
Okay,
yeah.
do yours.
Oh gosh, you have to say something funny first.
Uh-oh.
Oh wow.
You didn't say anything funny enough.
Yes. That
There
one.
it is. There you go. And awkward silence will do it. Yeah. But yeah, it's good. We get to be surrounded by it all the time. So
that's good.
we have the best lives, honestly.
Oh, nice.
And our last podcast question is, what do you want to hear Jesus say to you when you get to heaven?
I think just well done. Like, welcome home and well done.
I want to hear him saying, "We did it, girl. We did it. We saved them. We lived."
You are doing it, Caroline and Melanie. You are doing it.
Yeah.
Your lives are such a picture of Jesus to the people of Madagascar. And aren't you really moved by their story?
I am moved.
It's
But I would
very
also, I
powerful.
know it just came out in my mind. We're about to close up, but what it is that you want to tell the young people to really to take a move when they feel something burning in their life, whether they are used to or not, to just take a move and trust God like you guys did.
Yeah, in
Like,
such a radical
yeah,
way.
it is. So what it is that you guys would tell the audience
That's good, Peshqual.
to encourage them to
Yeah.
step up and do something
In their destiny.
Yeah. I mean, I think something that I've really felt in my life is if you'll just say yes, even when you don't understand it, God can use it. So even if you feel like you're unprepared, you're ill-equipped, how could God even use my life? Because we've all been there. Like, we're really simple people.
Yeah.
We're just normal, simple people, and we don't know how to do that many things. But if you say yes, if you'll just love, Jesus will do the rest, and He'll use you. He'll use your life, and He'll transform lives if you'll just say yes, even if you don't know it. And just that. There's no greater joy than laying down your life, and it does cost something, and the cost is real, but the joy is so much better. And if you'll just lay down your life, like, God will give you something so beautiful, and a life full of joy and peace, and it'll be better than you dreamed.
Yeah. Wow.
He really is better than you think.
I think just believe that God has a good plan for you. I think I
Yeah.
couldn't quite get my head around, like, God actually
does.
wants me to do something cool. Like, I used to
Yeah.
and that it looks different for everybody, but He has a good plan for everybody, and He's been planning it since before you were born. So just ask Him what His
Yeah.
plan is. Ask Him what He's been preparing your heart for, and just do it, because He already knows you're going to do it well, and He already knows that He's backing you. So I think just stepping into God's plan for your life is brilliant, and trust Him He has one, and ask Him what it is, and go do it. You might not even hear about it right away. You might have to wait, and sometimes it's right. The
That's a
waiting
good
is
word,
so
too.
difficult.
That
Yeah.
we often have to wait. It's difficult.
But when it's the right time, even if it feels like you've been waiting for a while, He will tell you, and it will be brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be perfect.
Well, guys, from listening to these stories, it's not worth it fighting against the will of God. Like Melanie, she went through that.
Yeah.
So whatever they say, they're telling you, search God, and then He'll make Himself found by you, and then He will lead the way, and He's gonna do the rest.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah, so we hope you've been really inspired. We have sure been inspired by you guys. And so we hope that you've been inspired as well. And if you'd like to watch more of our podcasts, we would love for you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, the Iris Global YouTube channel, to watch more of our Iris After Hours.
Yeah.
We love you guys. Bye.
Bye.
This podcast is presented by Iris Global. For more information or to support the work of Iris Global, please visit us online at irisglobal.org.